The way that I always teach students, and this sounds a little funny, people always wonder why, but it works really well, is we're actually going to start sewing on paper. You really can learn how to get control and how to turn corners and do a lot of the things that we need to do when you're working with paper. So all of you should have a sewing practice sheet that looks like this, and you'll probably have a couple different sheets, but this is one of the ones that I'm going to show you today. There's a starting and a stopping spot on it, and so get that ready by your machine. We're going to go ahead and use that. Okay. With your needle in position number 2, it's in the middle position, I want you to look at right here, this little lever. This lever is called the presser foot take-up lever. And this right here, this is your needle coming down, this is called the presser foot. What this does is it keeps your fabric in place. You want to make sure to pull it up so you can get your fabric underneath, or your paper in this case. So we can't put our stuff under our fabric or our paper under while it's down. So we're going to take the lever, pull it up, and get our paper in place. We're going to start with the start, and we're going to line up. There's a line, I don't know if you can see it on here. There's a line on your presser foot right down the center, and if you line up that with where you want your stitching line to be, then you will be sewing straight. So I'm going to go ahead, once I get my fabric where I want it to be or my paper where I want it to be, now I want to put that presser foot back down, because its job is to hold on to your fabric so that it goes, so it holds it nice and straight, and it goes in a straight line. If you do not push this down, which a lot of students sometimes forget, then your sewing is going to be all over the place because it has nothing to keep it down, okay? And again, right now we have no thread coming. We are just going to sew, and this is going to poke holes into the paper, and so you'll really be able to see how straight that you're sewing, okay? So our goal is to sew all along these lines, turn, and so keep making turns until we get to the center. This is really important when you're sewing, to learn how to stop in a spot, pivot, and turn the corner. And I'm going to show you what that means in just a second. Okay, one of the other important parts of the sewing machine that we're going to talk about is the hand wheel. So there are 2 ways to make this needle go up and down. One of the ways is the foot pedal that we talked about, by pressing on it with your foot. That's going to make that go up and down. That will make it go up and down fast, quickly. This lever right here determines how fast or how slow your presser foot or foot pedal will go. We're going to always start, especially when you're beginning, on the one triangle, the one arrow. That's slow. You can eventually work your way up to medium and then maybe fast, but as beginners we always want to start out slow, okay? So we're going to keep our machine on slow. So that's one way. Foot pedal, that's going to make it go. The other way, if you only wanted to move your needle up and down, just by small increments, we have a hand wheel. This is the hand wheel on the side of the machine. By turning it, and you always want to turn it towards you, like this. We don't want to ever turn it this way. The machine is, as it goes up and down, this hand wheel, the machine is programmed to just go this way. If you go this way too much, you're going to break the machine. So you can, as you turn this, you can see that my needle is now going up and down. And it's going slowly. I have to turn this quite a bit. See if you can see it. I'm turning it quite a bit to get it to go up and down. But that's a really good way to, if you need to, if the machine stops and your needle is in your fabric or in the paper, if you press on the presser foot, or the foot pedal, excuse me, you may take 3 more stitches when you only wanted to just bring your needle up. So this is a really great way, using the hand wheel, to get your needle up or down slowly, okay, by hand. My needle is down and I'm ready to sew. I'm on my slowest, and you'll see that it's pretty slow, but for beginners it's a good rate. I'm going to go ahead and press on my foot pedal, and I'm going to guide. Normally you would do 2 hands. I have 1 hand on my camera. You're going to put 1 hand here and 1 hand here to guide your fabric. Your fabric is going, or your paper at this point, but it's your fabric eventually. If you always keep your hands kind of in these 2 positions and just hold your fabric, you can, twist it and turn it to go around corners and to do curved edges. But for right now, just hold on to it, and the machine will feed it through. You don't want to pull it too tight The machine has, I didn't show you, but there's called what's feed dogs underneath. I'll show you later. Feed dogs are the things they're moving along to keep that paper moving, that fabric moving. So here I'm going to, okay, now I'm pressing the foot pedal all the way down right now. So that's as fast as you can go on that slow setting. So if you feel like that's a little too slow, which for an experienced sewer like myself, that's really slow, I'm going to go ahead and move this up to the medium. You can see, so full out, I'm pressing all the way down. That's how fast I can go. If I want to not go so fast, I can just lift up on my gas pedal just a little bit, my foot pedal, so I can still adjust it even with my foot pedal. So I'm going to go all the way to the edge of that line, okay? And if you can see, I'm like almost there. I don't want to accidentally go too far. So this is where your hand wheel, I'm using the hand wheel towards me. I'm going to just go to take it one more stitch. Okay. Now I feel like I'm right on the edge. How do I turn this corner though? Well, the easiest way is to make sure your needle is down into the paper. Lift up with your presser foot lever and pivot until you are heading in the direction you want to go. Make sure you put the lever back down, and then you are ready to turn it, okay? Make sure your needle's down, and make sure, if your needle is not down, then you have to start that whole process again of trying to make sure that you stay on the line correctly. By keeping your needle down, that is how you're going to pivot, and that is, you know, on paper it's not that big a deal because we're not going to try and wear this afterwards, but if you're trying to sew your own clothing and your seams are going all wampus and you are sewing off of seams when you should have, you know, it really can be detrimental to your sewing if you don't do things accurately. So this pivot thing is a really important thing. So now you're just going to keep, this one's fairly easy, it's just straight lines. You know, you're just going to keep going, and I will be grading this to make sure how straight you are. I want you really to try to be right on that line. It's a little bit difficult for me as I've got one hand on my camera, but you guys should be able to get it right on that line. Get to the next one. I'm going to do one more pivot here. And then I'm going to let you finish up this on your own, but just again, use your hand wheel if you want to, right till the edge. Press your foot up, pivot the paper, press your foot down, and keep going. Okay, so you're going to finish this one off, keep going all the way in, and stop when you get here. You're going to put your name on it and hand this in to me as a completed paper. You also will have a couple other papers to do, some with kind of squiggly lines, zigzag lines, curved lines. You don't pivot quite as much because it's a continuous curve. You're just going to use your hands to kind of guide the fabric like this along, or the paper along like this as you sew, so that you don't have points in your curves. You want to just have a continuous movement, okay? So you're going to do those ones and turn those ones in as well. Okay, and that, again, that's the same for the Bernina and the Baby Lock.